So I'm not a public school teacher, but I play one at home. Hi, this is Miss Andrea, and I'm a homeschool teacher, advocate, consultant. What I do is, besides having a homeschool program where I teach homeschoolers it's history book back there. Um, I also help students fill out their college applications. I do some guidance counseling, and have a really good track record on helping them get into college or with scholarships. I just wanted to walk you as much as I could through a day without showing off my students. So what I do is I get up, I do what I need to do to prepare for class. And about an hour before class starts, usually parents start texting me, asking questions, get to like, where's my Zoom link, whatever. I go ahead and log onto Zoom. I log onto Zoom. I usually schedule a meeting. Wow, brain is not with it. So I put in the information here to schedule a meeting. And when I'm done, I save the meeting. So this is set for in a half hour. I'll have to come back and delete it. And then I copy the invitation. I copy this invitation. I go to my work email. And I go and I pick my class. I compose. I copy and paste everyone from that class into the BBC, and then I paste the, oops, don't look at that. And then I paste the invitation. And I send, copy and paste all those people. I send them into the class. And that is that. So I get them set up in the Zoom meeting, and then I start the meeting. So I'm in the meeting by myself right now because I'm not going to have a student come in. It's nobody's business who my students are. And then I open the participants bar so that whenever one of my students log on up here, I can click them in and let them into the meeting. So one by one, they log in, and I just click to accept them into the class. Depending on what I'm doing, I might let them wait. And because I have 3 classes in a row, when it's time for the second class, students just all kind of queue in, and they're in the waiting room. And then I go into the chat, and then I can type to everyone in the meeting, or I can type to everyone in the waiting room. If there's a waiting room, it'll say everyone in the waiting room. And then I can just type in, like, hold on 10 minutes, because that's the actual chat time. But they like to join early so they can chat to each other. But if I have a class going on at that moment, they're going to have to wait. They can't. What I want to talk about now is what it's like teaching Zoom classes. I don't teach the Zoom classes by myself. I have a teaching partner. That's the way my homeschool program is set up. I don't believe that there should ever be one teacher in a room with kids. And especially when the teachers are like homeschool volunteers, I certainly don't feel like there should ever be one teacher in a room with kids. That's to protect the teachers. That's to protect the children. That's to protect my program. That's to protect everybody. There should never be less than 2 teachers in a room with a kid. So I'm on the Zoom, the other teachers on the Zoom, the kids are on the Zoom, and whoever has the better connection that day, because some days my connection is lagging, some days her connection is lagging, that will be the person to share the slideshow. And then we'll talk through the slideshow. And because this teacher and I write a good amount of the curriculum ourselves / together, we switch off back and forth between who's talking. If I'm talking, she's monitoring the chat, because the children are allowed to chat in text on the side. And if they have something really important to say, they can raise their hand and we'll call on them. And then if she's talking, then I do the same thing. I like it. I like it. I miss the classroom terribly. But I like it because the children engage. I do things online that I don't do in the classroom. I add a lot of video clips to the presentation. We have beautiful slideshows. And I think I'm going to keep that. I think I'm going to get an overhead projector and keep slideshows going when we're back in class, because I really do love teaching with that visual information available to the kids. But I was talking today about, how my kids are on Zoom. One of my students is laying down, and she sits up, fluffs her pillow, flips over, fluffs her pillow again, and resettles into the bed. I have a boy who just kind of lays real still, and I do have to text him separately or text his mom and say, hey, have him sit in a chair right now because he's falling asleep. Or I'll see that they're starting to drift, and I'll say, break time, 5 minutes, get a drink of water, because our classes do run long. And whenever I see someone nodding, I call a 5-minute break. And then they usually come back more alert and more engaged. It usually takes, for the 3-hour class, it usually takes 3 5-minute breaks. And why shouldn't a child have a break every hour, right? In my younger class, I have a kid who pretty much stays under the blanket the whole time. But he wears a sock on his hand, and he sticks his hand up. And when it's time for him to talk, he sock puppets at us. That's his personality in person. I don't know why I expect it to be any different online. And I have the cutest little kid who I played something with music to it, and he waved his little fan, because I had to make fans, the younger ones, colorful fans, so when they had a question, they could hold it up. And he starts waving his fan, and we all stopped, and we give him rapt attention. And he does this dance, and he's singing something. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so cute, it goes with the music that I just played. And then his mother's like, just go. And we realized that he was literally going, I have to pee, And he was doing an actual pee-pee dance. And geez, I feel like in some ways I'm engaging them more, but in some ways I have to work way harder. I have to do way more prep. I have to pre-screen a lot of videos because I need to know what I'm showing before I show it. There's just a lot more work, spending at least twice as much time prepping for classes this year than I did last year when I had my kids in person. And speaking of having my kids in person, I'm going to show you a clip of our park day, our science club, and we have our interact club, which is kind of a social, charity, community-based club. And until we can get our location back into the church that hosts us, allows people back into the classrooms, we're meeting in this gorgeous park pavilion. So that's what's up next. So as I was saying, on Thursdays we meet online for now. And on Tuesdays, first and third Tuesday to be exact, we are meeting here in this gorgeous park pavilion. There are 3 identical pavilions, so we don't really have to reserve one because it's the middle of the day. We just go and take whichever one is empty, and our students can spread out. We can do our club activities. We can work on our science. We're protected from the rain. As a matter of fact, the last day I was there in this picture, it was a rainy day. It wasn't like downpour, but it was drizzly. And no one was uncomfortable. No one got damp. And then the children ran off and played for a while with masks on, a little bit of social distancing involved. And then their parents were able to pack them up and get them back in the car. Um, so as homeschoolers, we have a little bit more options than the public school teachers have. We can decide to meet here, in places like this for short periods of time and still feel safe. But I certainly don't envy what the public school teachers are going through right now. It is twice as much work to teach via Zoom than it is to teach in person. And to do that on top of teaching students, well, that's just a lot to ask.